Hey guys, welcome to this video and welcome to this channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Courtney. I am an EPIK teacher, so I teach elementary school in Korea. I teach 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, and I'm a first year EPIK teacher, so I make a lot of different content on just advice that I would give before coming here. And today I'm going to be talking about what happens your first day as an EPIK teacher. So I know that there's a lot of mystery, a little bit of anxiety surrounding this because you're like, boom, I go to orientation, I have my 7 days there, and then what? Am I thrown to the wolves? Like, what happens after? So I want to tell you guys just my story, what exactly happened with me, what vaguely happens for everyone, but I really want to emphasize, and I've said this numerous times, and it's just the truth when it comes to EPIK, every single person's experience is different. So this is not a cookie cutter formula that will happen for you, but for the most part, all these requirements will happen at some point. So I'm going to tell you my story and what I did the first day. So at least it can ease your mind into your experience probably being very similar to this. Okay, so let's set the scene. You're at orientation, it's your last day. We like to call it adoption day. So we check out the night before, and basically every single province has a different time period of when your bus leaves to go to your province, and then generally you meet your co-teacher the same day. Now I know people in Seoul had a bit of a different experience, so if you're one of the Seoul people, it might be different, but we had orientation in Jeonju, and so if you live in the Jeollabuk-do province, which is the one I was in, we were actually the last ones to leave because that in fact is where we ended up teaching. Obviously though, if you're going somewhere like Busan or Incheon, then you're going to leave from the orientation site and you're going to take the bus over there. So after you take the bus, depending on how much time you have left in the day, it might differ. For me, like I said, I was actually in the province I was placed in. So we immediately woke up, we took our luggage, we went down and we just waited to get picked up by our co-teachers. So we all had our name tags on and they just came and they found us, and then we just hopped directly into their car. For me, my co-teacher picked me up. We talked a little bit in the car and she decided to drive me to my apartment first. Now I know it goes two different ways. People either get driven to the ARC department first, or they get brought to their apartment. I'll just tell you the timeline that I had. So I got dropped off at my apartment. There was a little bit of a lag where she actually let me settle down and eat lunch, and there was just an hour between seeing my apartment, making sure that everything was in order in case I needed to report anything to her, and then she brought me to school. So when they bring you to school, I think generally they're going to give you a tour of the school, you're going to meet other teachers, and then you'll definitely be introduced to your principal. I have multiple travel schools, and this happened at every travel school I go to. Generally, you are introduced to the principal, even if they don't speak English. It's just a formality. From there, you can either get to know your co-teachers better, maybe sit down and have some coffee depending on what the day is like, or you might just be thrown directly into work. More than likely, they'll give you a day to settle in, but you never know. So for me, they actually ended up giving me 2 weeks worth of prep time. So they gave me 1 week to just genuinely settle in, and then the second week was all introduction, and then the next week is when I started to work textbook. Now I do have a friend, shout out to you, Mary, who teaches at middle school, and I think she was just thrown directly into the ringer and needed to start prepping lessons right away. So everybody's experience here is different. For me, I was able to settle in and they just gave me 1 week, and then like I said, I had my intro presentation and just did that at every school all week long. So it gave me a little bit of time to be able to go through the textbook, sift through, and then start on lesson planning. So my co-teachers were really accommodating, but I would say if you are about to come to EPIK, what I would recommend, it's not necessary, but I think it would be really helpful, is to get your introduction slides done. There's several videos on YouTube about what an introduction slide for teachers can look like. I'd be happy to make one if you guys are interested in the future, but this way you just set up maybe 20 minutes worth of a class period, because sometimes teachers will want you to do the full 40, but sometimes they're just going to give you 10 minutes to introduce yourself. So I think 20 minutes is a good in between where you can cut things, but also have enough material to fill more time. It's always fun to do things like 2 truths and a lie to start talking to the kids and get them engaged. They can be really hesitant to ask questions at first, so it's great to kind of try and work activities in your intro lesson along the way. All right, so you're settled. First day, you got to your apartment, you're checking out if you have all the different essentials and necessities that you were promised you would have in your apartment, and then you go to your school, you introduce yourself, and you figure out what grades you're going to be teaching. You take a breath, you step back, you realize it's going to be okay. And then day 2 for me is when I started to just work on logistics. As I said, some people do this in reverse. Obviously, you go to your apartment the first day regardless, but sometimes people get all of their appointments done in day 1 and reverse it and get introduced to their school in day 2. But for my day 2, we started off by going to the bank. So they're going to have to set you up with a bank account. Your co-teacher is the one that chooses which bank to put you in. So they're going to want to pick the best option, but also what's closest to the school, because banks are actually closed after the school day. So that means that if you're going to go to the bank, then you're going to want to go during the school day. So it has to be close enough that you can kind of pop out either in your lunch period or if you need to take time off. It needs to be close enough and it's right there. At the bank, they're just going to go through basically all the requirements of how you're going to get paid in Korea, and then also opening up a debit card so that you have access to that account, of course. So after that, you're going to go set up your cell phone plan. And so for me, when I got to the airport, I actually ended up getting a 1-month-long SIM card plan. So I didn't have to go until later to get my cell phone set up. Otherwise, they can bring you to a provider, and there's tons of them. But for example, KT, and they can help you set up and open a phone line. You're definitely going to want a Korean phone number so that you can get things like Kakao taxis, you can open up different accounts here. It's really necessary to have a Korean phone number. So you'll be setting up your cell phone plan. And then lastly, to round it all off, you will also be going to get your ARC, which is also known as an alien registration card. This, as it implies, is talking about your visa and how you are allowed to stay here for a year under their employment. This is definitely something that your co-teacher will take you alongside, and if not, then you will definitely have to request help because it's going to be all in Korean. There's quite a few documents. You just kind of stand in line. It's not a rigorous process because at the end of orientation, they tell you all of the documents you're going to need. So as long as you get those documents in order, you essentially just show up to the office, you sign a few things, and you're good to go. But more than likely, you will go with a co-teacher, and if not, I highly suggest finding someone who speaks Korean to go, and then you end up getting your alien registration card mailed to you about a month later. It does take a couple weeks. I had to move you guys slightly. The sun is really coming down. But that is a wrap on everything. So the 2 essentials that I would say are really important is getting that cell phone, opening up that plan, and getting your ARC as soon as possible. Your co-teacher should definitely know that this is something that you need to do right away. But if you are one of those people who happens to have a co-teacher that's maybe never done this before, or they didn't really read over instructions on how to kind of help you integrate into Korean life, then I would highly recommend talking with your co-teacher and getting those 2 things set up as quickly and easily as possible at the beginning. And then from there, you are ready to start teaching with EPIK. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. And if you are nervous and you're starting EPIK soon, then I wish you all the best. It's okay. You can breathe. I think everyone's nervous, especially if you're a first-year teacher like I was, but it will be all right. There's always a learning curve, but everyone is so kind here. You have such incredible and diverse experiences as well, so yours will be uniquely your own. If you guys are interested in future videos talking about EPIK and advice, if you want to leave a comment down below on what type of video you would like to see, I would love that. I'm considering doing one on what lesson planning actually looks like, and then maybe the application process or the interview. So if y'all are interested in any of those or have other suggestions, definitely leave a comment down below. I'm very open and looking for inspiration, and I wish you luck on whatever your journey is with EPIK. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you have the absolute best day of your life, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.